always at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the 49ers versus Atlanta Falcons game recap show. The 49ers now have a 95% chance of making the playoffs, Alex. I'm super stoked. I don't know how you're feeling.
I mean, I'm pretty stoked to it, and I don't know if you could tell from the dancing.
Well, I was kind of saying it tongue-in-cheek because you were dancing.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
You were like Channing Tate Yum.
Just hit the graphic. I need a minute. Oh, goodness gracious me, Ant, you are one funny individual and Cutback crew. This is fun times. This is great times. The 49ers, I mean, they killed it today. Yeah. This was a team win top to bottom. Defense playing stout, offense moving the football, everyone contributing, whether it was Jawan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, even though it was only one really huge, gigantic catch, George Kittle, Jeff Wilson Jr., the O-line playing absolutely phenomenal, Jimmy Garoppolo dealing yet again. I mean, this was top to bottom a team win, and a team win in which they had to overcome some errors and mistakes from their special teams, from Aubrey Thomas maybe not playing the best coverage, even though they were putting him kind of out on an island all alone by his lonesome against Kyle Pitts, which was a little concerning. How are you feeling after this? Because I feel like literally the sky is the limit for this team right now.
It is a weird situation where you feel like a coordinator had an absolutely great called game in D'Amico Ryans, where he called it fantastic, and yet you still question some of the things he did, putting Aubrey Thomas out there on an island by himself. But overall, I thought it was a good performance. The special teams, blunder early on, where I felt like JaMychal Hasty really did have that ball put away. It wasn't like he let it get away from his body. Just a well-placed helmet got that ball up into the air. It's unfortunate. The 49ers defense rallied in a big way. The fact that call is overturned and Cordell Patterson's touchdown is not confirmed, it would change the way that this game was going to go, because the 49ers stopped the touchdown. It stops the momentum. The offense doesn't get anything going on the next drive. They have some missed opportunities. They get the punt, but then they hold Atlanta to 3 points. And I think that holding them to 3 points gave the 49ers all the momentum and kind of that staying power, where it's like, okay, we just had this classic blunder that normally in our 4-game stretch where we lost would have put us, in a bad situation. But now we're a football team that can overcome those, because we're not going to constantly shoot ourselves in the foot. And after that, the 49ers didn't shoot themselves in the foot. They made great plays throughout the game. Yes, there's still some questions about the special teams. I don't like the way that it's being called overall, especially the kickoffs. To me, those are making me nervous. Kick it out of the end zone. Make them start from the 25. The way your defense is playing right now, don't get too cute. Let your defense get the job done, and don't let these other teams get any momentum going to start their drives.
Give them a guaranteed 75 yards.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let your defense have some situations and some times, Ant, where they're coming out in the field going, hey, guys, we got 75 yards here that we're protecting. Like, we're good. Instead of, like, kicking it off short, letting these guys return and go like, hey, guys, I don't know if we have 75 yards or a 50, because our special teams right now is one of a few things is going to happen. And it's usually, here's the nice thing, right? When they do kick it short and they have their entire special teams unit out there, their actual starting special teams unit, Trenton Cannon, Marcel Harris, Demetrius Flanagan-Foles, your 3 of your special teams aces, your studs, your stars, when all 3 of those guys are out there, you feel a lot better about the Niners covering kicks, punts, punt return. I mean, everything feels better when you have those guys out on the football field. When you don't have those guys on the football field, we've seen what happens. Like, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
The 49ers are letting touchdowns happen, big returns happen. We're giving up, short fields for the opponent. We don't need that. Like, we really don't. That is one of the biggest concerns right now. And I don't know if it's just Hightower, trying too hard to set up the defense in even better positions, or if it's just not having the pieces and so you can't execute the way you want. But either way, there is a solution to this, and it's just kicking it out of the end zone and giving your defense 75 yards to go defend, and giving them some comfort in knowing, what they have to go do and what their job is, and not making their job harder. I know that Hightower's trying to make the job easier.
He is, yeah.
But at times you're making it more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah, and the good news is this 49ers offense got rolling.
Accurate.
I mean, absolutely rolling. There was 5 straight drives where they scored points. And Kyle Shanahan was in a groove. He was in his zone. I know you tweeted that. Just stay away from Kyle Shanahan.
Stay away from him. No one talks to him.
He's feeling it. And He was. And part of the reason he was feeling it is the 49ers skills and the things that they do well matched up very nicely with the way the defense of Atlanta was built, because Atlanta doesn't do those things well. They're not going to be able to stop this 49ers offense. That's why I predicted the 49ers were going to score 41 points in the game, because I just thought that this Yak Brothers group was going to go off on them. They're going to be able to get them the ball and make plays. And they did that. And I think that this was a cool game plan for the 49ers. They were able to execute it. I think the running game went even better than I expected, though, Alex. I felt like Jeff Wilson Jr. really got after it.
After everything we've seen from Jeff Wilson the last few weeks, I wouldn't have said 100-yard game.
No. But I think it was real clear that also Atlanta struggled to get pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo, and that the run game was really able to get going. And once we know the run game gets going, that really does help the way that they are able to pass protect. That helps Tom Compton. That protects Daniel Brunskill. And it was pretty much a quiet day. I know we had the one play where Fowler came off the edge by himself. I'm still convinced that Jermichael Hasty should have picked him up on that play.
He was supposed to chip that dude. I mean, Tom Compton never even once went after him.
No, Compton's expecting him to cut him. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. He's expecting him to stop him. That's his job. And he didn't get it done. He free released. I'm sure that's going to be something they talk about in future situations, and probably why the next third down situation you got into, Kyle Juszczyk was manning that spot. But yeah, Kyle Juszczyk also, what a great run he had. What a touchdown run.
Kyle Juszczyk
nice inside trap look. Fantastic.
He's so great, dude.
And then the ISO, they ran a traditional ISO play to Jermichael Hasty of all people, and Kyle Juszczyk with a huge block on the linebacker right there. It was a very nice performance.
It was a very nice performance overall from this 49ers offense, and they needed it. And this team needed to do this against this team. There were a lot of holes in the secondary, a lot of questions at safety. Can they come up in the box, and can these guys stop runs? Missing Eric Harris, not having your starting guy out there. You know, as much as I like Grady Jarrett has not been very solid against the run. So if you're able to get the offense going, passing the football early, softening up those linebackers, softening up those safeties, well, now you're prime and ripe to be able to just execute and take care of business. And the 49ers did. The offense did what they needed to do, and it started with our key matchups, right? It started with offensively things that we needed to see, and my key matchup was Daniel Brunskill going up against Grady Jarrett, waxing on, waxing off, and he did it in a big way. I said he needed to channel his inner Aaron Donald stopper for Grady Jarrett, not let this guy wreak havoc on the interior, and I don't remember Grady Jarrett even getting a pressure, and I don't know if you remember him doing a whole lot in this game. It didn't feel like Grady Jarrett was doing a whole lot of anything. And when you're a D lineman and your name's not being called and I don't notice you, you know, sometimes like secondary pieces, right? If a team's not really doing a whole lot offensively and you don't notice a guy in the secondary, it's usually a good thing, right? Like you haven't made any mistakes. You've just been taking things away and quarterbacks are like, nope, not going here. I'm just going to go somewhere else. If you're a D lineman, your job is to get noticed. Like your job is to be noticeable, and he wasn't in any way. So again, apparently, Ant, he tapped it in. He found his inner Bobby Boucher, found a way to channel himself into, you know, the Daniel Brunskill, Aaron Donald stopper against Grady Jarrett, and now he just needs to be that every game for the rest of the year, and ideally for the rest of his career, because he'll get paid really good money if he can be that.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Shanahan took the pressure off of Daniel Brunskill and Tom Compton with the game plan that he had, whether it was play action and moving the pocket, getting Jimmy Garoppolo out, just the sprint left and sprint right type things that he was doing. That was going to take the pressure off those guys to get into those straight drop back situations, which we know are not their strong suit. And when you're able to get, the play action game going and all that, that helps your offensive line in a big way. It was a very masterful job by Kyle Shanahan. He went out there and took care of business against the Atlanta Falcons. This was never about a trap game. This was a playoff game. This was a play-in style game. And the 49ers came out there to prove that not only are they a playoff team, but they deserve to be in that kind of upper echelon of NFC teams. And I think they are putting themselves in that echelon. I believe they are the last one on that rung. I believe everyone else is behind. They are the last one that has an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. It's them, all the way up to the Bucs and the Green Bay Packers. Those are the teams right there. That middle six group, they can win. Everyone else is right there, but they don't have the actual ability to win a Super Bowl. And then my key matchup was the 49ers Yak Bros against the Falcons DBs. And I'll tell you this right now. The Yak Bros went off in a big way. 218 yards in this game. They got whether that was receiving or Deebo doing it in the backfield. Deebo, once again with a rushing touchdown, now holds the NFL record for most rushing touchdowns by a wide receiver. So he's doing it, as Trent Green would say, a gadget player. But like I told you, Alex, Trent Green was nothing more than a gadget quarterback because it took Kurt Warner to win him a Super Bowl. So well done there, sir. I think that this is one of those things where these guys are just going to continue to roll. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo and this offense is getting into a rhythm. They're getting the playmakers the ball in space. And now you can't take everybody away. You decide you're going to take Deebo Samuel away, then they're going to hit you with Brian Ayuk or George Kittle. You decide you're going to take Kittle away, and they're going to hit you with the other two. There's a pick your poison. And if for some reason you think you take away all three, that's when Juwan Jennings or Kyle Juszczyk chime in with the big play. This offense is rolling in a big way, and I'd feel very intimidated if I was another team. Tennessee Titans, you got a short week to prepare for all these weapons. This might not be a good week for the Tennessee Titans to be preparing for the 49ers. So, yeah, I'm super excited. I was super excited about this performance. I'm very happy that the 49ers took advantage of the weaknesses of Atlanta and got themselves a big win. I really wanted them to make the playoffs, and now it's looking like that's going to be a darn near close to cinched up thing.
95%, man. 95%. Cutback crew, if that doesn't make you feel just giddy inside, I don't know what will, because the 49ers at one point in the season and after going 2-0 dropped 4 straight and everyone was ready to sell the season, and now you're 95% certain that you're in the dance and you're playing football at a very high level at the right time. And we just talked about the offense, and we might as well stick with it and give our straight beast offensive player of the game awards out, because I mean these guys played phenomenal, and we have a couple of names that we want to single out this week. Time for our offensive straight beast.
In a game like today, there's a lot of options. A game like Sunday, I mean, there's just so many guys that you could go with. And I think that in this one, though, I'm going to roll with Jimmy G. Jimmy G, to me, just looked comfortable in the pocket. He was able to distribute the football. He was hitting wide receivers in stride. This was the Jimmy G that I was expecting to see when the season started, and he's hitting on all cylinders right now. He looked confident. This team is confident in how he's playing. It's the G thing, and he deserves all the credit for this one. We want to make sure we always keep it honest, and he played well, and he deserves all the accolades he should get from this game.
Yes, 1,000% yes. Jimmy would be the first name that comes to mind for this game. And some of you right now are going, well, Alex, you're wearing a jersey, and it's 19, right? It's 19, so you're gonna have to be choosing Deebo Samuel because he's doing it again in all facets as a receiver, big couple catches, breaking some tackles, running the football as well. You're right, not because Jeff Wilson Jr. rushed for 100 yards, and I never in 1,000 years would have said that Jeff Wilson Jr. coming into this football game was going to rush for 100 yards. I just wouldn't have said it. I didn't believe it. I didn't think he's healthy enough. I just don't think he's that guy yet. I don't think he can be that guy. Well, I'm wrong, and I'm glad that I'm wrong, because Jeff Wilson with a huge 100 yards, that also took pressure off of Kyle Shanahan from wanting to run Deebo more, because last week Jeff struggled a little bit with running the football, hitting holes, being explosive, getting to spots. And so Kyle went to, I think, Deebo more than he would have liked to have gone to him coming off of the groin injury. Well, today, Kyle didn't have to go to Deebo until late in that football game and on a couple of runs in the red zone in order to get those touches, get those big plays out of Deebo Samuel, and kept the Falcons defense honest with Jeff Wilson running the football, which was huge for the 49ers. But a lot of that doesn't happen if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't do what he does, which was 16 of 19 at one point, playing absolutely phenomenal. No mistakes, only one real errant throw, and that was the one to Trent Sherfield where he throws it just a little bit behind him in space. Other than that, Jimmy Garoppolo was throwing, again, tight windows, quick release, getting the ball off before the Falcons could even get pressure, which keeps your O-line looking incredible. And it looks like a Pro Bowl offensive line top to bottom, right? And when your quarterback's getting rid of the ball in 3.5 seconds, it's glorious.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some great PFF grades after this one. You're right, though. Jeff Wilson Jr. was really doing a great job, and the cuts were there. The vision was there. This looked like the closest thing we've seen to Jeff Wilson Jr. from the 2020 season before he's had all these injuries. It was very nice, and it's good to see. One thing I want to point out before we go to defense, because I know we're headed that way pretty soon.
We are.
Deebo Samuel running, he looks electric. When he gets the ball, even going through the middle of the defense, he just looks explosive. The closest I would say to Raheem Mostert as far as running up the middle, as far as explosion in the middle
100%.
of any of the guys. It's crazy to think that he could possibly be our best wide receiver and best running back.
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
It's not fair. But he's a gadget player, Ant.
Well, then gadget me up. Give me LaVisca Chenault, too. And give me a Cordell Patterson next year as well.
Hey, bro, if we can get Cordero Patterson in this offense next year.
Yeah. Kyle said he's been wanting to get him for a few years now. So
put that nugget into Cordero's head.
Oh, I guarantee.
I'm surprised he didn't get hit with tampering.
I guarantee the player said some stuff to him today.
Oh, 100%.
You wouldn't have to get whacked by us if you played for us.
Hey, yo. DP, I'm my guy. DPA4. Come on over, my guy.
Yeah.
We take care of you. Al knows how to utilize it. You see what he's doing with Deebo.
Come over to the 49ers and we're number 14.
And before we even go even further, Ant, let's it's true. Maybe not 14.
No, we're 14. No. I need a Cordero Patterson jersey.
Somebody's got to wear 14 and get through a season, Ant. Somebody's got to do it for the 49ers. We got to get used to that 14, you know? But the reality is I'm really sick of, like, the Trent Greens of the world. You brought this up earlier, and I wanted to talk about it, but we were such a roll. I didn't want to get off track. I'm really sick and tired of this gadget nonsense.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, I'm going to say something. It might be hot. I don't know if you're going to probably agree with me on this, Ant.
Ooh,
a lot of people may not. This is going to be probably a hot take for some. Deebo Samuel is an MVP candidate. You can name a lot of players in the league that are extremely vitally important to their success, and almost all of them are quarterbacks. Deebo Samuel is vitally important to the success of the 49ers offense. Without Deebo Samuel, this team doesn't play the same way.
No, 100%.
It does not play the same way. In the passing game, it's not the same. In the running game, it's not the same. Deebo Samuel is one of the most valuable players in all of the NFL right now, and he should be in the MVP conversation. It should be getting serious consideration. And in all honesty, Ant, because he's doing it as not a quarterback, it makes it that much more special, and I think should garner more weight.
I think it should too. I mean, I really do. I think he's one of those guys. We've been in this non-gadget argument for a long time. He's just a dominant football player. And he over 25% of the offense runs through Deebo Samuel. That is a tremendous amount. That shows the value he has to his team. 100%, he can do it all for your team. I mean, he even tried to throw the ball in the game yesterday.
Oh, bro, was open.
And it was close. I mean, if he wouldn't have had to, I don't think he should have showed the throw so early, but I think they thought it was going to be wide open. But yeah, he can do it all. And I think that for sure, Offensive Player of the Year, he will be in that conversation.
Agreed.
But I do believe he should get some MVP votes because non-quarterback wise, he's the most valuable player in the NFL, and I don't even think it's close. Let's stop just giving it to a quarterback because we all know it's the most valuable position. Maybe we should just have a top quarterback award in the NFL, and they should go to a most valuable player that is a different player because it's just you can't just keep doing that every year. Some of these guys deserve recognition, and a lot of guys are having tremendous seasons. Deebo may be the most shining star of all of them.
1,000% yes. And now that my hot take and rant is over with Deebo Samuel, we can move on to the defense, which, again, played absolutely phenomenal. And from the opening drive, which shouldn't have been their drive because it should have been the offense, but there was a fumble by Hasty, them shutting down, I mean, what is it, 4 times in the red zone?
Yeah.
Did they shut down this Falcons offense? Yeah. That is absolutely insane, but not unexpected because this 49ers defense, year in, year out, since early in the season against the Philadelphia Eagles, has had possessions like this where they just buckled down in the red zone. That bend, don't break mentality is there. It exists within this team. And it's not every red zone possession, but if you need one from this team, from this defense, they can get it done. And that's scary if you're an opposing team's offense because you could be moving the ball wonderfully, masterfully, doing everything you need to do. And as soon as you get inside that 10-yard line and you got 4 plays to punch it in, you might not be able to get it in.
Yeah, because unfortunately, the 49ers struggle against the deep pass. They struggle against the big play. They do not struggle when they get into a short area where they can play tighter. They can get locked on you a little bit. They're a lot better in that type of situation. And lately, they've been laying the wood and really rallying to tackles. It's been a fantastic look from this team, and it was on full display yesterday. 100% what a great game plan from DeMeco Ryans, the way they executed in the red zone, and the way they were just turning back these runners when they were trying to get a half yard, a yard. Every single play, it seemed like these guys were showing up in the right way. You had big-time plays coming from every single kind of player.
Literally everyone.
Yeah.
Willis at one point. I know DJ Jones was blowing through and making huge plays. Fred Warner was having...
Armstead, the first one, the third down play, he nails Cordell Patterson.
Well, he nails Cordell Patterson. How about, too, I mean, there was the Bosa sack, the strip sack, where Armstead, I mean, he eats coming through. Bosa doesn't necessarily eat, but he's got a good leverage and a good position. But Eric Armstead eats so much that Matt Ryan has to drastically step up in the pocket. And then Armstead actually is going so far forward that he takes out the tackle. And then Bosa's like, oh, I have a free lane right to Matt Ryan. Thank you, Eric. And then goes and makes the strip sack. It literally happened, and I was just like, dude, Armstead, my word almighty. But everyone on this defense was having these moments. Josh Norman on one of the big runs on 4th down where Jimmy Ward comes up and stuffs it in the hole. Josh Norman coming up and setting the edge and turning the play back inside. Bosa fighting off of 2 blocks and eating up that second block so that Jimmy Ward has the lane to come down in space and make the play. I watched it and I was like, I literally, Megan goes, oh man, what a tackle by Ward. And I was like, Nick Bosa is just a darn monster.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you do? And I was like, he just ate up 2. He just ate 2 guys, and that's why, I mean, Fred was coming off of a block. He was going to be able to potentially make a play at the line, but Jimmy Ward comes through untouched because Bosa dominated. He dominated, and the second guy was like, well, he's going to make the play if I don't get him.
I would like to know what the NFL thinks about, because DJ Jones should have like 2 or 3 more sacks at least.
At the very least.
I want to know what they believe is hold, because when DJ Jones gets through and literally Mayfield grabs to the back of his jersey and is holding on. It's like when you got the big older kid and he's running and you have the little kid holding on to him. It's like little giants, they're holding on to Spike as he's dragging him. That's literally what it looks like. I don't know how that's not holding. Like, that's literally the definition of holding, right?
It doesn't get any more.
Back.
Well, the best part is DJ Jones is running up to the official and like, dude, like, what are you seeing?
Yeah.
Did you see the replay where the official's eyes are?
No.
He's literally here, and as DJ Jones starts to create separation, he goes and looks this way. And it's like, dude, what are you? Why? Your eyes are there. You see he's coming through. What are you looking left for? Why aren't you looking straight ahead to see if this guy makes the play or not? Because if he doesn't make the play, maybe there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I mean, referee eye discipline seems to be an issue.
Holy cow! I couldn't believe it. I was watching it, and I literally saw the official go. He literally goes. It's like, dude, he's holding him. Stop it.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Throw the flag.
I couldn't see it. I wasn't looking.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
It's crazy to me. That's like the third straight game I've seen that happen. And I'm just wondering when they're going to call that.
Never.
I mean, because we had like the choke hold thing, which we found out wasn't a hold.
It's never going to happen.
But now the jersey pull from behind. Like, if the guy's physically past him, he's just getting I don't get it, man.
You don't get to go get him. No, I don't need this. It's never going to happen. At this point, it's not going to happen.
And we were talking about DJ Jones, and I'm going to get into my defensive key matchup here. And that was Matt Ryan versus this 49ers defensive line. Another the defensive line caused problems for him all the time. There was no saving Private Ryan in this case. He was running all over. And the fact that he ran for 20 yards just shocks me. Kevin Givens, pick up your game, sir. You need to start doing more flexibility drills and run this guy down. That's the one blunder this defensive line had in this game, was not being able to run down Matt Ryan. All of them. Everybody else was getting after it. Arden Key had himself one heck of a game. Nick Bosa had a great game. Armstead, DJ Jones,
Fred,
doing a bit. Contavious Street had another great game. To me, this rotation is just on point right now. Chris Carrick has them clicking and firing on all cylinders, and they just continue to get better. And this is going to be a problem for a lot of teams coming up. Matt Ryan unfortunately had to feel it in this game. I think there was opportunities that they could have forced turnovers as well. Those weren't taken advantage of, but this defensive line caused one on their own with Nick Bosa with the strip sack. You got Fred Warner, jumping on that in a hurry. I love Arden Key jumping on Fred as well. Like, hey, we're going to protect Fred and make sure we got this ball. But it was a very well-played game by the 49ers defensive line. I thought they kept Matt Ryan uncomfortable pretty much the entire time.
Yes. The entirety of the time, Ant. There wasn't a moment where Matt Ryan felt comfortable, enjoyed what he was seeing. I mean, I said this in Discord too. After where Matt Ryan almost threw the pick to Ambry Thomas that hit him in the hands.
Right.
I said, we only have a couple more of these Matt Ryan gaffes. We got to capitalize on at least one of them. And then the strip sack happened, and I felt better. And then Ambry Thomas had the one that he was in his hands, and then Kyle Pitts ripped out of his hands, which was a little upsetting. But the Niners did what they needed to do. They did enough, and they caused the turnover they needed in order to kind of blow this thing open. And the D line is to take credit for that 100%. They got after him in a big way. There was no saving Private Ryan, and that was a good thing, because my key matchup for at least one member of the 49ers secondary was really bad. But for the rest of the secondary was just fine. And that was Kyle Pitts versus the 49ers DBs. This is a big L for Ambry Thomas. Like a huge L. It doesn't get much bigger of an L for Ambry than it was. Now, the only positive thing that I can take from this, though, Ant, is that Ambry was in some pretty good positions on a lot of those plays with Pitts. He was in a pretty good spot. He didn't really get toasted by anybody today, which is good. What I will say, though, is that this wide receiver core outside of Kyle Pitts isn't, I wouldn't say it's like electric or anything. It's not like a fantastical. But Ambry did enough today. He just didn't make enough of the plays, and he's just not ready quite yet. But the rest of the DB core played phenomenal. K'Wan Williams, yet again, playing another great game. Josh Norman, not a single defensive pass interference, which is absolutely phenomenal and great, setting the edge on some run plays, and a couple of times coming in with the peanut punch. I was hoping that a couple of those were going to land, and my wow, that's bold was going to come true. But the 49ers did what they needed to do in a big way. They took care of business. The DBs played great. The D-line got after Matt Ryan, forced him to take some bad throws, and saved some throws, saved the touchdown on the one drive where they come through and hit Matt Ryan, and he's got a wide open Tajee Sharp coming across. They don't make contact. They don't get to Matt Ryan there, Ant. Doesn't happen.
Yeah, Arden Key and Samson Ebicom did a nice move on that, and they push up on that tackle, and he ends up coming free on the stunt. That was a great play. I enjoyed it, but you're right. This defensive back group did enough in this football game. The fact that you weren't hearing a lot from Josh Norman, there was the one big play where he gets beat down the field, which is up in the air whether what coverage that was, and until we're able to watch film, I'm not going to say exactly what it was or whose fault it was.
I can definitely say it wasn't man.
Yeah, it wasn't man.
Can comfortably say it wasn't man.
100%. And I think that, Josh Norman's going to give up those plays occasionally. You're going to get one. And you give everyone one. It's the continuous ones. Ambry Thomas was out there battling in a big way and doing the best that he could. It just wasn't in the cards, against some of these matchups. Gage got after him a couple times.
True.
Kyle Pitts had the one big one and almost two where he took the ball away. You're right on that. So I think that Ambry Thomas has got some learning to do. I'm looking forward to getting Emmanuel Mosley baback. And I'm curious if the 49ers roll with Ambry Thomas in a short week on Thursday against the Titans, or if they go ahead and go with Dante Johnson now that he's back, and recovered from his personal life situations, which is terrible. Hopefully he's in a good mindset. He did get out there and play a little bit in this game, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they decide to do out there and how they plan on doing it. And if Julio Jones is out there lined up, or if he's not, we get a Julio on Ambry Thomas matchup. I'm a little bit worried.
There better be a safety over the top.
Yeah.
There better be a safety over the top.
100% agree.
D'Amico Ryans don't play that game. Not against Julio Jones and the Titans.
Well, I mean, if anyone knows how to play against him, it's going to be Kyle.
That's also true.
So
wait, because he coached him and he did really well for him.
Yeah, and he knows everything about him, so that's always a good thing. What he does well, what he doesn't do well.
True.
So you try to put him in those situations where he does things that he doesn't do well.
Accurate, Ant.
Yeah.
Very, very accurate, my guy. Look, though, defensively, we talked about the defense as a whole and the things they did really well and, the things they took away, which was those outside zones and sweeps that you talked about in the game plan video, Ant. Those did not get going at all in any sort of way. The run game overall was just shut down, and that was a key. That was something the Niners needed to do. They did it in a big way, put the onus on Matt Ryan, but there are guys to thank for that, and there's guys to thank for getting after Matt Ryan. We got to talk about our block is hot defensive players of the game. Let's do this thing. Oh my goodness.
So now it's time for the defensive block is hot player of the game. And I'm going to go with a guy that had a really good game, in my opinion. Always in my opinion. It's Jaquiski Tartt. I thought Tartt had a great game. I thought he was making physical contact at the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. He was deterring people. I mean, he made Zacchaeus be very nervous about going over the middle and trying to catch that ball.
You mean to tell me?
End zone.
You mean to tell me that Zacchaeus was not looking at the ball when Matt Ryan threw it, but was instead looking down at Jaquiski Tartt, deciding whether or not to go after the football or not, or make a business decision?
Oh yeah, he made a business decision in a big way. And that was a good decision because Matt Ryan had just felt the brunt of the decision the play before to try to power in, and he got full Trey Lanced, and it completely turned back by Marcel Harris and by Tartt. But I thought Tartt also had other plays in the game, where he was coming up to the line of scrimmage and making plays off the edge. It was a nice performance from Tartt. I was excited to see him do that, and I was really excited to see him come back from the injury, which I believe was referred to at one point as a grotesque injury.
It was.
Which I was completely shocked because it looked to me like a low ankle sprain.
I thought at worst it was a low ankle sprain. Yeah. Well, actually, that's not true. I thought at worst it was a knee sprain because maybe his knee got contorted a little bit, but I didn't think more than about an ankle sprain. I just know he's been dealing with foot stuff, so I was like, that's not great. Oh, that's not bad. That's not a good thing for the Niners, especially with Talanoa Hufanga, going out early in the football game with a knee. But not necessarily the best thing for the 49ers, having to roll out there with Tavon Wilson. However, I'm very comfortable with Tavon Wilson.
Me too.
So Megan goes, so who's out there? I was like, Tavon Wilson. She goes, so how do you feel about that? And I was like, actually, pretty good.
Is it weird seeing Wilson in 30, considering that you had Jeff Wilson Jr. years before in 30?
No, I think it's a nice homage, accidentally, and it's actually pretty wonderful. But look, I thought overall that's a solid take. That's a solid pick there, not pick, because Jaquiski Tartt played phenomenal today, yet again, for the 49ers. But I'm going to give it to Arden Key, a guy that, Mr. Editor slandered in the poll in the reaction show and left him out of. I can't believe he did that. That was so rude. And it's shame on him. He's just the worst.
Yeah.
But the reality is that Arden Key has shown just how absolutely formidable this pass rush is now that he's moved on the interior for pass rush downs. He's just a problem. He's a problem on the interior. And the worst part is for defenses, you have DJ Jones who comes in and plays on that side in that position on your base downs, who is fast, physical, and like just a power. And then to have to quickly shift gears to what Arden Key can do, which isn't necessarily the full power range, but the speed, the arm placement, the hand placement, how quick his get off is. It's such a big shift. I don't know, what are you supposed to do? I mean, you're just praying that you hold off long enough, and teams aren't, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
because at one point today they were doubling Armstead and doubling Bosa. They were doubling both guys, and Arden Key was just eating on the single. And when he's eating up single like that, one-on-one blocks coming through and just causing havoc, teams are sitting there going, okay, well, unless we literally bring 8, keep 8 full max protect every time and send 2 guys on pass routes, we're screwed.
Yeah, and the 49ers are sitting back in 2 deep safety looks, and forcing you to want to do that. And he's getting after it. Arden Key is successful since the move happened, and it was only a matter of time before Chris Kacerek figured out a way to unlock his potential.
True.
It's the reason when he came to San Francisco, him and Maurice Hurst both wanted to be here. They knew it was a complete change in philosophy from what they had with the Raiders, and they were excited about their skill set playing for Chris Kacerek. And when you find players that fit your skill set and then you're able to use them, they're going to have big games and big seasons, and Arden Key's having that season. This is going to be fun to watch because they're only getting better and better every week. Him and Samson Ebukam are really learning to play together. They keep them on the same side a lot. They keep Bosa and Armstead on the same side together.
True.
And all this is going to do is give these guys, the camaraderie and the chemistry to be able to continue to run these TE stunts and things. And they're just going to know where each other's going to be. And when you can put out that kind of speed, like those 4 guys, you're going to be able to cause problems all season. You throw in the fact that you still have Aminihu, you still have Jordan Willis coming off the bench.
More speed.
And eventually maybe Mo Hurst as well. With another interior threat, this rotation is beastly. But on obvious pass downs, it is nuts. The fact that at one point in this game, the Atlanta Falcons had run one more play for over 200 less yards than the 49ers goes to show the dominance of the San Francisco 49ers, not only on defense, but also the explosive plays they had on offense.
It was Cordero who today? Cordero Patterson, who has been the shining spot in their offense, both as a receiver and a running back, rushed for 21 yards today.
Yeah.
21 yards.
Matt Ryan with 20. Have yourself a day, Matt Ryan.
Big yikes, hand. It would have been better if he had scored that touchdown. Thank goodness Marcel Harris and Jaquiski. I know. Well, there was a second where we broke the pocket where I was like, I went, we're fine.
If he has 2 yards to go and Marcel Harris has 7 yards to get there, I'm taking Marcel Harris every day.
I'm going to take Marcel Harris also, Ant, and it worked out in our favor because Marcel Harris got there and then Jaquiski Tart cleaned it up.
Yeah, it literally looked like Jaws going after a kid on a surfboard. That's what he looked like. And then when he got hit, you could see his teeth.
Dude, he braced. He didn't even try and blow through it. Once Marcel Harris got his hand near him, he was like,
oh yeah, and then Tart gave him snot bubbles. Nice. He put his shoulder pad right in his sternum.
It was good.
Nice.
It was absolutely phenomenal, Ant. It was absolutely fantastic, and definitely gave him snot bubbles, Ant. Which brings us around to, one of our favorite segments on our recap shows. It's the hurt business, where we talk about and induct members of the 49ers that put the hurt on their opponent. And this week, the Niners, there was quite a bit of guys that put the hurt on the Atlanta Falcons, and it's time to acknowledge them and put them in the hurt business. Let's get to it. Ooh-ah, indeed, and hurt business
huge
time.
Hurt business, and I'm just going to go with Tart on the big goal, big goal line hit.
He goes.
Absolutely obliterated him on that play.
Not just that, man, but the fact that Zacchaeus after that wants absolutely no part of I looked at you and said, so making the playoffs, not important for Zacchaeus. Not important at all whatsoever. Those are the type of plays, Ant, he does something like that where the coaching staff is going, hey, should we have you on the roster next year? You're not even going to try to make that. He didn't even put an arm out.
Yeah.
He was just like, no, we're good.
Yeah, his arm length on that made me think he wanted to be a T-Rex in a previous life.
So there's a good chance. He's a dinosaur, Ant.
Yeah.
He'd
always thought he would come back to it.
Don't give up on being don't give up on being that dinosaur,
Yeah.
Dad, you can't be a dinosaur. That's just not
doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
You're a man.
Oh, goodness gracious. But no, to Tart, 1,000% yes, Ant. But Marcel Harris also belongs in there because he put a lick on, I forget what was it? It was Kyle Pitts, I think, over the middle. Kyle Pitts caught a pass. Fred Warner wraps him up, and Harris comes in and just smacks him.
Yeah, that.
And he did that a couple of times. He was just laying the wood down on people, which is a Marcel Harris trait. That's something he does a lot.
Yeah, Tart did that to Gage as well.
Oh,
the middle.
man.
The one on the hip.
Where he didn't even get, he struggled to get up afterwards.
Yeah, in fact, Marcel Harris hits that one so hard that Fred was kind of working on his arm after that one.
like, oh.
Yeah, that was a big one. And then Fred himself. I mean, Fred was out there flying around, having big hits in this game, slithering around, letting Cordero Patterson know.
He rocked Cordero a few times, too.
Yeah. He was out there. He was playing in a big way. He was making up for Noah Al-Shire in this game, and he was bringing the energy, and he was leading the team. It was a good performance.
It was a solid performance again from Fred Warner, and it wouldn't be the Herd business if Trent Williams wasn't in there. Multiple pancakes in the first half. I mean, he's just grown manning it again. Against Cincinnati last week against Cincinnati, he had the one where he literally single armed through a guy, a defensive end who came through, and we joked about how a few weeks back he had thrown a defensive lineman with an arm. He did it again against Cincinnati, and then just showed why he's that dude and worth every amount of money that you paid him. Trent Williams, I love you. I just love you.
And then the last one we're going to go with is Deebo Samuel. He has the one where he finishes around the goal line where the defender makes a business decision and just kind of backs off. And then you have the one where he absolutely nails the guy and takes his mouthpiece clearly out of his mouth. He's an offensive player who plays football like a linebacker.
True.
Physicality is at the old school level that I love. I love the way the 49ers play, and that's an attitude you have to have in the playoffs. And George Kittle, Deebo Samuel are leading the charge on offense, as well as Trent Williams as well.
True.
These guys set the tone for that physicality, and yeah, Deebo is out there laying the wood in this one as well.
George, I would put you in the Hurt business, but you're literally trying to go 1-on-8, and I love you too much to want to reward you for that. So please take care of yourself.
I also don't want to put Hurt and George in any sentence together.
Also accurate, and also very accurate. Cutback crew, look, we can't. It's too important. We hope you enjoyed this recap show. We really, truly did. This was an absolutely incredible game for the 49ers. They took care of business top to bottom, start to finish. We cannot thank you enough, so make sure you comment down below. Let us know what your favorite moment was from the game. Who's your straight beast? Who's your block as hot player of the game? And did we leave someone out of the Hurt business? We want to hear from you, so make sure you're commenting away.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know what you thought about this game. Are you still worried about the special teams? Do you think Omri Thomas can get it done against the Tennessee Titans? Let us know in the comment section. Let's have a nice conversation about this. It's going to be fun. We don't have to agree. The one thing we can't agree on, though, is that we're all 49ers fans. We want them to win, and we want to see them play January football. That's what I'm waiting for.
Super Bowl bound, that's what I'm hoping for as well. And that's what we all would like here on the 49ers Cutback crew, though. We'll see you on the next one. And until then, stay safe.
And remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.